The Oysterville Sewing Circle, a novel by Susan Wiggs, performed by Khristine Hvam. Prologue. In the darkest hour before the breaking dawn, Caroline Shelby rolled into Oysterville, a town perched at the farthest corner of Washington state. The tiny hamlet hung at the very tip of a narrow peninsula, crooked like a beckoning finger between the placid bay and the raging Pacific. She was home. Home to a place she'd left behind forever. To a place that held her heart and memories, but not her future. Or so she'd thought, until this moment. The chaotic, unplanned journey that had brought her here had frayed her nerves and blurred her vision, and she nearly missed seeing a vague shadow stir at the side of the road, then dart in front of her. She swerved just in time to miss the scuttling possum, hoping the lurching motion of the car wouldn't wake the kids. A glance in the rearview mirror reassured her that they slept on. "Keep dreaming," she silently told them. "Just a little while longer." Familiar sights sprang up along the watery-edged roadway as she passed through the peninsula's largest town of Long Beach. Unlike its better-known namesake in California, Washington's Long Beach had a boardwalk, carnival rides, a freak show museum, and a collection of oddities like the world's largest frying pan and a carved razor clam the size of a surfboard. Beyond the main drag lay a scattering of small settlements and church camps leading toward Oysterville, a town forgotten by time. The settlement at the end of the earth. She and her friends used to call it that, only half joking. This was the last place she thought she'd end up. And the last person she expected to see was the first guy she'd ever loved. Will Jensen. Willem Carl Jensen. At first she thought he was an apparition, bathed in the misty glow of the sodium vapor lights that illuminated the intersection of the coast road and the town center. No one was supposed to be out at this hour, were they? No one but sneaky otters slithering around the oystering fleet, or families of raccoons and possum feasting from upended trash cans. Yet there he was, in all his 6'2" sweaty glory, with Jensen spelled out in the reflective block letters across his broad shoulders. He was jogging along at the head of a gaggle of teenage boys in Peninsula Mariners jerseys and loose running shorts. She drove slowly past the peloton of runners, veering into the oncoming lane to give them a wide berth. Will Jensen. He wouldn't recognize the car, of course, but he might wonder at the New York license plates. In a town this small and this far from the East Coast, locals tended to notice things like that. In general, people from New York didn't come here. She'd been gone so long she felt like a fish out of water. How ironic that after 10 years of silence, they would both wind up here again, where it had all started and ended. The town's only stoplight turned red, and as she stopped, an angry roar erupted from the backseat. The sound jerked her away from her meandering thoughts. Flick and Addie had endured the tense cross-country drive with aplomb, probably born of shock, confusion, and grief. Now, as they reached the end, the children's patience had run out. "Hungry," Flick wailed, having been stirred awake by the change in speed. "I should have run that damn light," Caroline thought. No one but the early morning joggers would have seen. She steeled herself against a fresh onslaught of worry, then reminded herself that she and the children were safe.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?